that feeling of being crowned amateur lightweight champion. First of all, describe that feeling, and second of all, where does that rank in your combat sports accomplishments?
Near the top, to be honest, mate, because that was like that for me. Like the sport that I did previously, it weren't as big as MMA, and it weren't big shows like that. So getting for having like a lot of family and friends come and watch me like they did that night, and then getting crowned with the belt, and I knew. But at the start of that year, start of 2018, I said I want to be at least talking about a title fight by the end of this year, at least talking about one. And then because it happened, I got offered the title fight. Obviously, I took it, and then it all just went perfect. You know, that was my first finish as well, first MMA finish. It was a boss night, mate, quality night. One I'll remember for forever, I think. It was just the atmosphere. It was just a good day. I thought everything went well. The warm up went well. The fight went well. After went well. Everything. It was just a good night, mate.
I was going to say, what was the after party like?
Do you know what? not what you'd think.
No?
It was quite funny actually. No, not what you think. I'm not a big drinker, to be honest. I'm not a big. I used to be when I was a little bit younger. When you first turn 18, you start going out and stuff. But no, once I started getting serious into MMA, and I knew that this is what I wanted. And if I drink, the whole week of training's messed up. I just don't feel the same. So for me, there's just no point doing it. So I was just getting a pizza, going back to my hotel room with my belt in
Wow.
my bed next to me. I was just chilled
Lovely.
with my mates. That was it.
Wow.
We did try and go out, but one of my mates left his ID, and we just left it. But I was cool with that. I never really want to go out after a fight. I always say that I will. I think I've went out once after a fight. I'm knackered. I just want
Yeah.
to go home and chill and
True.
just take it all in.
True. So then moving on to your title defense against Marcus Lewis at
Yes.
Almighty 12.
Yeah.
There was a lot of interest going into that fight. What do you remember of the lead up, and what was the nerves like?
Again, not so much nerves. There was a lot of pressure going into that. No, there was a lot of pressure going into that fight because one, me and Marcus know each other. We come from the same background. You know, he's fought our David a couple of times, and for me, it was, you know, there was a bit of back and forth in words and stuff. But you know, for me, I'd lost my debut against a 2-0 guy, and then came back on a 4-fight win streak. And you know, I grafted my ass off to get that, you know, and I still do today, obviously. But you know, we was meant to fight for the Cage Warriors Academy title in Liverpool, but I ended up getting staph infection on my leg. So I had to pull out of that fight. I didn't want to. I pulled out the week before. I was begging Jason to not pull me from the fight, but he said he'll give me to the week of, and if it's no better, then I'll have to call it. So obviously, because I pulled out, and I never like pulling out of fights. I hate pulling out of fights. I'd rather lose than pull out of a fight.
But that's why you need a coach.
Exactly that. So there was a lot of build up, and for me, it was, you know, Marcus fought for the. It was a title eliminator fight, and he ended up losing. He got beat by a lad called Mark Ewan. And then I got told that I was next in line for that title shot because the champion at the time had turned pro. So I was like, yeah, signed, thinking I was going to fight this Mark Ewan who beat Marcus. And then I got told it was Marcus. I was like, right, okay. But asked the question, I was like, what happened to Mark Ewan? He's like, oh, we turned pro. I was like, right, okay. Turns out he didn't turn pro. So they obviously just wanted to get me and Marcus fighting each other, which I can understand why. Two strikers know each other, same background. But no nerves, just pressure again. Just there was a little bit of pressure for that because of how we knew each other. And Marcus is good. He's decorated himself. He's won like 24 world titles or whatever back what we did. He's good at MMA, and he's good at what we did. So you know, when he's a couple of years older. So when he was fighting our David, obviously, like, that was another big fight. So I was watching him in our David fight, and you know, it was like, and now I'm fighting him. But I think the main pressure came from, you know, I got stabbed before the Cage Warriors fight, and then we booked again in, what was it? Yeah, May. So I come back about 2 weeks after the fight in February. He fought an Irish kid. And I came back 2 weeks after. My staph had cleared up. I was training for 3 weeks in camp straight away. Now, staph infection, it does you in. And 3 weeks, training for 3 weeks. And then I was like 5 weeks out from the fight. And I got staph again in the back of my leg. So I couldn't train for another 2 weeks. So I came back, and I was like, I was playing catch up. You know, I'd been on like 3 different types of antibiotics. I came back, I'd only had a couple of weeks left. And I knew that was going to be my hardest fight. Because he was pretty much matching me striking. So I knew it was going to be my dog fight. And like I said, it was just catch up. I was hitting pads, and, you know, I was sharp, but I weren't me sharp.
Yeah.
So I think deep down, I knew I weren't ready. For a fight like Marcus, I knew I weren't ready. But obviously, I pulled out the fight before, so I weren't going to do it again. But again, another massive learning curve. That's a fight that no doubt will happen again, whether amateur or pro. Too many people want to see that fight again. It's too much of a good fight.
Very, 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 very high level.
Yeah, too much of a good fight. You know, sold ridiculous amount of tickets, I've heard.
Yeah, it was noisy.
Yeah, loud, mate, proper loud. And do you know what? I love that.
And his opponent standing across the cage, the champion, fighting out of the red corner, with an identical record of 4 wins and 1 defeat, representing Academy, he's the FC Lightweight Champion,
That, looking back at it, watching the fight, that I love that. Just the fact that you know, me and Marcus were a part of a fight that was probably the loudest in amateur MMA. Just a good fight to be a part of, but definitely a fight that I want to get back.
Sure. And was you ready to go the 5-round distance?
Yeah. The thing was, I always think we always do at least 5 rounds in sparring. So and we do a thing at the academy. We do a thing called up dance, which is a nightmare, absolute nightmare. It's basically fight simulation. So, you know, if you're doing let's say if it's a title fight, 5 3-minute rounds. Your first minute, you're on the pads with Jason. Second minute, a fresh body comes on. They're trying to take you down. You're gonna stay up on your feet. Third minute, back striking, and it changes every time with a fresh body. So that in itself is harder than the fight, because you know you're just drained straight away. So I always know I'm fit, I'm ready for the fight. I think I just weren't physically and probably mentally fully on that fight because of staff build up to it, all this kind of stuff. I was too invested in it. I was too invested in that fight. I let the pressure of, you know, the history behind me and him, and let that get to me. So that would be a big thing that I change next time.
Right. To remain ice cold.
Remain ice cold. Ice cold.
Exactly. So the 3rd round of that fight was, wow, my goodness, epic mayhem, and everything in between. It had just about everything, and you both got a standing ovation at the ends. Summarize what you can remember about that particular round.
I remember being pressed up against the fence, framed off, and he broke away and started striking. And I started striking back with him, and then I just heard my coach shout, "Cover up." So as I've covered up, next minute my hands are on the floor, and you know what? That's the first time I've ever been dropped. So I give Marcus that. It's the first time I've ever been dropped in a fight. But it it weren't so much of a hurt. It was more like a flash. Like 1 minute I was up next to me, my hands on the floor, and when my hands on the floor, I was like, whoa, and then just got straight back up. And then I've gripped all of a body lock. He's ended up, I don't know, I think some kind of throw, suicide throw, whatever. And I've ended up on top, but he had me in like an arming guillotine almost, I think. Weren't that tight. I managed to pop my head out, and I knew he was tired, but I was tired also. You know, I'd just binged up. So, but for the rest of that round, mate, I was on top, showing me strikes. I think if I could do this all day, but I think if I had the end, if I had a better camp, you know, fully fight fit, and not been dropped that round before, maybe a 5-minute round also, I reckon I'd have got him out of there that third round. But it is what it is, mate. I'm not going to make excuses for it.
It is. And then a question from Kyle Jones, who featured on episode 5 of Flash Knockdown, and who will be facing Marcus for the lightweight title later this year. He wants to know, if you had the opportunity to rematch Marcus, what would you do differently?
Like I said before, not too invested, I remain ice cold. And you know what as well, I wouldn't have so much of a game plan. I'd fight him how I'd fight. The game plan, and I'm not trying to, you know, take away anything from the coaches here or anyone really. But the game plan was to take him down, beat him up. Then when he starts, you know, getting a bit tired, then start striking with him and possibly finishing from there. But another thing, I think I was too invested on that game plan. I was too involved in, I've got to take him down. Whereas I'm confident enough on the feet. I don't believe I'm out on, like, I can mix. I believe I can mix it with anybody on the feet. So for me, not get too invested and don't have a game plan. Just fight him. But that's come from a similar style to Marcus. I know, and I know what he likes to do and stuff. I know why he does certain stuff because we come from the same background. So I don't know. Maybe for him, maybe for Kyle, I have a game plan. I don't know. I'm not his coach, but for me, I'd fight him. I'd fight him how I fight.
Okay. Well, there you are, Kyle. Good luck, my man. And good luck. So, what are your MMA sort of objectives and goals now? Then
I'm gonna be the best, me, mate.
Absolutely.
Going for UFC gold. And being the best ever. That's my goals. I want to be known as one of the best ever. So yeah, it's not even just about the belt. It's about the legacy, innit? Yeah. So just keep fighting, and then one day the UFC will come calling, and then when they do, I'll be ready for it all. Take the title, defend it, go down as one of the best ever.
Yeah, and then go up a weight and do the same.
I reckon so, defo. I reckon so because, like I said, I'm getting bigger. So I do think welterweight will be on the cards. I'll defo, lightweight title, defend it against anyone, and then, if there's not so much of a challenge at lightweight anymore, then I'll go up to welter. But still fight for the title. But I'd want to fight contenders first. I don't want to people. You get the double champ status now, don't you? Yeah. But it's a lot of them go from the champion in one division, and straight away you get to fight the champion at the weight class above or below. And I wouldn't want that. I'd want to go up and fight contenders. Because if I'm in a different division and I just get cut the queue, if that was me the other way around, I'd be pissed off.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely,
I'd want to earn it. I'd want to go through. So there's just so there's no question. So there's no doubt. Go through the lightweight division. Go through the welterweight division. Hold 2 belts. Defend them both at the same time. Go down as the GOAT.
Wow. How many more fights do you feel you have at amateur before moving to professional, or have you not thought that far ahead yet?
No, mate, I'm always thinking of pro. I'm always thinking of pro, but I leave that down to Jason, really. Jason and the other coaches at the academy.
Yeah.
That when they think I'm ready to go pro, then I'm ready to go pro. But I don't know. I have heard that the pro talks, there, but still got a lot of learning to do. So I'm not really in no rush. If it comes, I'll take it. I'll never pass up the opportunity. But I don't know. We're looking to get at least 3 fights, another 3. I've had one in March. Looking to get another 3, August, October, November this year. See what happens from there. If he says go pro, we'll go pro. If he wants a couple of more amateur fights, we'll do a couple of more amateur fights.
Sure. Very sensible as always, Connor. So we're now onto the final part of the show, Connor. So thank you so much for your time so far. And that's looking at your flash fives. Connor, I will ask you 5 questions. And very simply, you give me your best answer.
Okay.
All right. So number 1 then, Connor, who would you love to compete against, either dead or alive?
Ooh, good question. Whoever's the best at the time that I get to the UFC.
Okay, that's interesting. But who would you, if that was now, who would that be?
Ideal fight. I'd like a fight against. I think a fight against Khabib purely because he's undefeated. So I'm one of them. I'd like to take a 0. But Khabib's Khabib, innit?
Yeah. He's a mauler.
So, mate, different level. That's the goal, innit? Get grappling like his, have the striking of mine. Untouchable then. But probably Khabib. It's a horrible fight to ask for. Obviously, I think everybody knows that. But do you know what, mate? Khabib, therefore, Dustin Poirier's quality, I think he's came through since the Conor fight. He's came through massively, and probably Conor. I think the hype for that fight, the build up would be tremendous.
Huge, it would be
massive. And it's like he says, it's a big show when he's fighting. So
always is. Your ideal way to finish an opponent? Knockout. How?
Head kick. Or a lovely right hand.
Lovely, standard. The best combat sports fights you've seen?
Well, Poirier and Dan Hooker the other week. That was crazy. I like the very first fight that I ever seen. What I thought, wow, which probably what has got me thinking about MMA and the UFC in the first place. Forrest Griffin and Stephen Bonner. I think that's a fight for everyone, really. That was like the first proper full fight that I watched and was like, oh my God, this is amazing. But yeah, that, and what was the other fight? Adesanya, Kevin Gastelum.
Amazing. That was a fight. That was a fight of the year last year.
Yeah, I got up with my girlfriend to watch that. I think I woke my dad up.
Yeah, that was epic.
Yeah. Sat on the edge of your feet.
Yeah, it really was. And that's Stephen Bonner fight with Forrest. If it wasn't for that fight, would we have a UFC today?
I doubt it.
Yeah.
I doubt it. Highly doubt it. That was I've watched the documentary on Dana White and the Fertitas going on about that fight, saying if it went for that fight, they probably wouldn't be a UFC. And I agree. It set the bar, really, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. What superpower would you have?
Ooh, interesting. Very interesting. Reading minds would be a good one. Invisibility would also be a good one. I'll go with them too. I'll go with them.
That would do it. And then the best finish to a fight you've seen?
Do you know what? I've got to give it to McGregor and Aldo. Just because I stayed up till 6 a.m. to watch that fight, and he just clipped him with one shot, and it was game over. So I don't think I stayed with a couple of my mates and watched that fight. I was the only person that stayed awake till 6 in the morning for 13 seconds. But I was pacing up and down the living room after that happened. I couldn't believe it. Just madness, because Aldo was obviously 10 years undefeated. Like, I don't think anybody expected that.
No one did.
So,
But
for it to end.
Apart from Conor, however, because he actually predicted that sequence of events. He said that Aldo will come out looking to land and that he would dodge it and then hit him with that left hand.
Something that I like to use, to be fair, what he's saying there is that he's making his opponents overextend, staying at a certain kind of range. I'm not going to give away too much, but staying at a certain kind of range that if when they do attack, they are overextending and the chin's exposed for longer. So I know what he's going on about there, but I still didn't expect that. As clean as that was something else.
Unbelievable. Okay, that's a great set of answers there, Conor. And that brings us to the end of the show. So first of all, I'd like to say thank you so much for your time. And secondly,
thanks a lot for having me, mate.
You're welcome. I was going to ask, how was the experience for you, Conor?
Boss, mate, I've enjoyed it. Like I said before earlier, you're letting us be heard. So it's appreciated. But no, I've enjoyed the show. It's quality speaking to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And I look forward to seeing you progress in the amateur division and then finally move into the professional ranks and seeing you crowned as the UFC champ.
100%, mate. No doubt, 100%.
I believe you. I believe you, my
Very
man.
soon, couple of years. Give me a few years, you'll see it.
Sure. So thank you again, Conor. And thank you to everyone who tuned in to episode 7 of Flash Knockdown, the show that engages with people of the combat sports world. Thank you, everyone. And thank you to Conor.
Yes, thanks a lot, mate.
You're welcome. Take care, Conor.
You too, mate.
Bye-bye.